there, welcome back to another What the Hell Is This? This OC And Stiggs, the Robert Altman film that is bloody awful. This is probably one of the worst films made by a major director ever. Now, it's one of those things, it has terrible reputation, right? So I was like, of course you want to see it. It's like, it can't be as bad as people say it is. It's Altman doing a teen comedy send up. You think, okay, maybe because he's an older man who made it, maybe it's a bit dated and a bit old fashioned. But it can't be that bad, can it? And it's like, yeah, it is. It really is. It took me 3 attempts to get through it. I had to watch in bits because it's so painful. And it's Altman at his worst, where basically the film was based on a National Lampoon sketch of these two characters, OC and Stiggs, who are basically sociopaths who are torturing lots of people in their hometown. It was like a parody of the kind of prankster characters, but made them go really too far. And people thought it was hilarious because it was attacking people who deserved it, but it was also a guilty pleasure because these characters were so obnoxious as well. So it was this thing. It was like this kind of thing that certain people liked because it was like very dark humour, and it was like, this would make a great film. So they wrote a script. The people who wrote it wrote a script, and one of them was Ted Mann, who actually went on to do like Deadwood and stuff like that. And basically, the film went through a few directors. Like Mike Nichols was going to do it for a bit, but apparently he didn't quite get it. So Robert Altman had a deal with MGM at the time, and it was going to go through MGM. So they hired him. He had an idea of how to do it, and then according to everybody, he never really followed the script. And it basically was a case of you could actually do the script that they wrote in a completely different film, and you end up with this unreleasable film that was sat on the shelf for about 2 or 3 years, and no one had a clue what to do with it because it's so meandering, it's so dull. It's like it was pasteless film, and there's no real jokes in it. It's maybe a comedy, but there's no jokes, and it's this idea of what Altman does when he's not connecting the material, which is he just lets things flow, and there's no point to anything. So there's a documentary on here which I watched some of, but it meanders just as much as the film does. But it does give you an idea of this was a film that just meandered through production, and no one was there to actually criticise, because Altman was basically his own producer, and he kept the studio at arm's length, he kept the writers at arm's length, and he brought in his own actors and just let them kind of ramble through these scenes. And there's just things just happen, but there's no like comic timing. There's certain shots just move on, things happen within the shot, but there's no dynamism to what's happening. It's not like the player where there's a point to what's happening. This is just like Altman does a vague idea of what to do with this, and then he just shot it. But I mean, the big thing is he goes against everything that you need in these comedies for energy. I mean, the 2 lead actors don't have any parts to play. They really don't. I mean, it's like they're called OC and Stiggs, but they could just be guy 1 and guy 2. There's no personality to them. It's not the actor's fault. They're not given anything. They're not directed to do anything. They're directed to kind of mumble around and do things, and the film's cut up so that you can't quite establish what any of them want or why they want things, and there's no energy to the performances. And there was like good actors actually coming in to actually try and get the part, like Robert Downey Jr., who never got the part, who Altman would use later on. But it's almost like Altman went for actors who would be as anonymous as possible. Again, not the actor's fault. They were trying. They're both going on to be professional actors. I think it was just a case of they didn't quite understand the script. Altman didn't quite get what he wanted, and he just let them float around. So they become characters who are not irritating or interesting. They're just there. The most defining part of them is that they drive this wreck of a car that's really obnoxious, and that's more defining than any of the characters. Cynthia Nixon plays one of the love interests, and she's young, and she's probably the best part of the film. But she's only in it for like 10 minutes. I mean, there's Paul Dooley, who is an Altman regular and who's also in lots of other films throughout the time. He's basically the villain, who's this guy that Troll's trying to annoy because he's rich and obnoxious and a bit racist. But you never get to know him that well, and also he's played by an actor who has some personality, so you like him more than you really should because he's a personality, which is unbalanced. But the film is, it just floats. Dennis Hopper shows up as a parody of himself I think it was shot during the drug years before he rehabbed properly. Again, he works better because he's Dennis Hopper and he can bring some energy to it. But the big thing with that film is there's no energy. It's just like it meanders from one set piece to the other, and all the set pieces are done in the most dull ways. If the director's not interested in them, he's just interested in showing us the world of these people who are just vague and not that motivated in any possible way. And I suppose it's meant to be a parody of the 80s, suggesting that just below the kind of mania of the leadership was just a lot of people just meandering through their lives. But it needed some structure to the script and to the visual design to get the points across in a way that didn't send you to sleep. And this film really just sends you to sleep because it's so dull. There's no real dynamic editing between scenes. There's no sense of like transitions between scenes that perk you up. It's just like, oh, cut from this bit to this bit just because. And it's like, where are we going now? I don't know. What's happening? Who cares? There's no progression in the script to why they're doing anything ever beyond it's a whim. We'll do this because, and that takes on 10 minutes to film. We'll do this because, and it's just very vague, and all these characters are, the interacting with these characters are either, homeless or extreme, like, capitalists, and again, there's no dimension to any interactions between these characters. It's just like, we'll just deliver the dialogue kind of vaguely. And it's just one of those things that's insulting to the audience to expect them to sit through this. This is just like, why wasn't Altman fired? Because this was terrible. I don't see how you could actually look at the dailies and think, this is working really well. This is a badly made film. This is a badly directed film. There's a reason why it was on the shelf. It's one of those ones that's like, they probably had to release it for some reason, probably contractual, but who knows why. But they barely released it and put it in video. And it's just awful. It's so awful. And it's more annoying because it's made by a director who can do good films. It's like, he's done films, I've liked films that no one else liked but Altman, like Buffalo Bill and things like that, I really like. There's lots of films that I like that Altman did that people weren't specifically keen on. I'm fairly easy on Altman generally. But this one was, and even when he meanders sometimes, there's a point to it. This one is like, I'm lost, there's no point to any of this. This is just like, he looks bored, and part of the parties throughout the film, and everyone's getting drunk and betting and stuff, and it's like, yeah, everyone was doing anything but thinking of the film. That's what it feels like. It just feels like the film was just a day job, and we'll just get through it. And it's just one of those insult to the audience and insult to the studio by making it. It's like, surely you must have like a obligation to try and make a film that will make its money back. Hopefully, when you see this, you see why Altman had a bad time in the 80s. It was like, it wasn't just the studios. If some of it was him too, he seemed to be like not interested in doing anything that actually work. It just like there were some good films in the 80s, but this one was like, you can tell why he was blackballed, because it was like, yeah, that, if I was a producer, I'd be annoyed at that too, because it was like, it was meant to be a certain kind of film and he never bothered. So yeah, this is a total, what the hell is this? This is like, I just cannot find any way to defend this one. This is just terrible. This is just like one of the worst films I've seen by a major director, like ever. It's like, a lot of good directors go off sometimes and make some weird stuff, and it's like, I see what I tried to do, you failed, but it's okay, you tried. This one, I don't think you even tried. I don't think there was any attempt to try anything good here. This just felt like it was a job, and who cares? So, yeah, avoid like the plague. This one is not worth your interest or curiosity or anything. It's just god awful. Right. So that's me, OC and Stiggs. Just avoid like the plague. Right, bye.